everyone, this is Jasmine. I'm sure you've guessed from the video title, but this is not exactly the video that I had hoped I was going to be getting out. This is instead a video about giving up, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. First, let's talk about what I'm doing here real quick. I started swatching these colors because I was doing Sarukatober from Sarah Tepes. I'll link her channel down below, but she was doing a like Inktober kind of challenge that had a specific color palette, and I didn't have the exact colors, but I kind of tried or replaced with ones that I thought would be good. And there were also prompts. The first prompt is Amber, and that's the one that I'm doing here. And every year I say that I am not going to do any prompts, like month-long prompt challenges, Inktober, any of those kind of things, Drawtober, etc. But I feel like as an artist, as soon as that time comes around, you have this kind of feeling of missing out. You want to join in all of the fun, and at least that's how I feel. So I always end up doing something. This year I was just doing some sketches for fun. I told myself no pressure. I'm just sketching, and I was doing pretty good. And I got to like I think 5 sketches. But no matter how often that I tell myself it's okay, when I inevitably fall off, it still feels bad. And I think eventually I will get better at doing only as much of the prompt that inspires me, instead of feeling like, even though I've told myself I don't need to do the whole thing, but still feeling bad when I don't. In fact, I've actually never finished any of the month-long prompt kind of challenges, not a single one, and I feel like I start them almost every single year. And this year I only completed one artwork, that's this one, and I feel like that's okay. I need to keep telling myself that, though. It's okay that I only finished one, and I know I'm only gonna finish one. It's the 22nd, and no more are getting done. Now, remember how I mentioned that this prompt had a specific palette? Well, that's the first point that I gave up on this particular piece. I feel like I didn't have the tools that I needed to like bring this vision to life. At this point, I'm struggling to come up with colors that I think would look nice, and they're just not working for me. I didn't have, the tools that I needed, and on top of that, I wasn't having fun at all. Like, I put these colors down and I was like, oh my gosh, this is not what I want this dragon to look like. But I only had so many colors to choose from. I don't normally struggle to finish my pieces, but this one, I mean, no one's immune to feeling like a piece is failing, and I tried to put down a bunch of texture and tried to make this color palette work for me for this piece and what I wanted for it, and I just did not think that I could bring it back short of restarting. So like I said, at this point I was not having fun with this piece, and I think that's a bit sad because the point of these art challenges is to have fun with it. I mean, yeah, you might be pushing yourself, but really, what is the point if you're not enjoying it, right? And this was a struggle, and it's not the palette's fault. I had a specific vision in mind, and the palette just did not work for me. And it might be because I was missing a color. Like I said, I was missing a few colors that I just did not have the appropriate ones. But the prompt list is great, and it was inspiring, and the colors and the palette are very pretty, but it just wasn't doing it for me. So I did end up scrapping the whole idea of using the color palette, and I just went my own direction with it. I still used this as a base, but I just could not make it work for me. But that's okay, because after I decided that I was not going with this color palette anymore, I started to have fun with it again, and that's why it's okay to give up sometimes. If I hadn't given up on this color palette, then I wouldn't end up with a piece that I really like as much as I do. I ended up bringing out my paint markers, and I just kept going. And I'm not sure if this video has like a deep meaning or anything, but I want everyone that struggles with the art prompts and not wanting to be left out to know that you can just do what inspires you. You don't have to do exactly what's on the art prompt or what everyone else is doing. And whatever your skill level and however much free time you have, sometimes it just won't work, and you have to give up on it. Whether that means starting the whole piece anew, starting on a different project, or like this, giving up on the way that you had imagined it and the tools that you were using, and going in with something a bit more comfortable or familiar. So in the end, I did step away from the prompt list and from the palette, and I gave up on them both. And I also gave up on my original vision of this artwork. But again, I am glad that I did, because I absolutely love how this final piece turned out. But anyway, enough of all of that, and let's get into the actual painting. And if you have made it this far into the video, let me know in the comments down below, what is you guys' favorite gemstone? I know that amber isn't technically a gemstone, but I feel like this dragon would be like an honorary gemstone dragon. Amber's close enough, right? And I do think that he turned out super beautiful in the end. So what I did was I used the markers as a base, and I went in with my Arrtx acrylic markers. I almost went in with just acrylic paint. I almost just gave up on the base entirely, grabbed out my acrylics, and just painted right over the top of the whole thing. But I thought, no, I can get there with the Arrtx markers. They've got the brush tip, and I've been kind of obsessed with them ever since I started using them. I'm sure anyone that's watching my videos can tell. But I went in, and since they're semi-transparent, I could take that texture from the base of the dragon And I could go over the top, especially with the yellow on the body to give it more of this shine and just lighten it up and make it look a little less, I don't even know the term, but I wasn't into how it was looking, and I could bring back some like sparkly highlights here and there in the scales, because one of the best ways to make something really pop when it comes to things like glistening scales or sparkles or glitter or anything is to make sure that you bring some of those really light highlights into the dark shaded areas. Of course you want them where it's really light, although quite often you will have just like a whole patch that's really light, a really light highlight patch, right? But then you bring a bunch of individual sparkles into the darkened areas and it can really, really liven a piece up. But at this point, I kept going in, trying to fix that back fin. I'm not really sure I got it entirely where I want it, but I did good enough. At one point, I'm like just kind of done, right? But at this point, I really felt that I needed more contrast. The darkest color that I had was this dark red. And I mean, it worked, but I needed something darker because these highlights along the edges of the fins and whatnot were just not cutting it. They weren't making it pop enough. And I couldn't really think of a marker that I could go in with other than black. I didn't intend to keep the black fully though. I will be going back over it, but this just makes it pop so much. So guys, don't be afraid to use really dark colors. I probably would have used a different really dark color if I thought that I could have gotten the same intense effect, but I wanted deep dark, because when you look at pictures of amber, they basically have black shadows. Like they'll have like all the specular highlights and whatnot, and then they've got these deep dark spots here and there in them. And I really wanted to capture that, so I ended up going over this in red, but it just brought everything together. And this is the point where I was like, I'm so glad that I kept going and I didn't scrap this, because I am now in love with it. I think it's one of my best recent pieces. I think it turned out great. And I hope that you guys have enjoyed coming along this kind of wild ride with me. I was not certain that I was going to have a video for this week, but here we are. I did throw in some white highlights at the end. I wanted to make this dragon look really shiny. And I hope that you guys could maybe learn a little bit from what I'm doing here. I hope you enjoy the videos in general. Let me know if there's anything you would be particularly interested in seeing me talk about, or do tutorial stuff about, you know, anything that you would like to see. Let me know, or anything that you would like to hear my thoughts on. But I do believe we are, oh no, we're not quite winding out now, because I have some extra pops of color to throw in here that are going to make it really stand out. Because right now it looks nice, right? I really enjoy this. I think it was turning out quite well. It's got that amber vibe that I was going for, and extra shiny. Again, it doesn't look like the vision in my head. Maybe I will draw something that matches that vision sometime just to compare, right? I think that I could do it best digitally, but I throw in a few more highlights here, and then we get to basically the very, very finishing touches here. A little bit more red, a little bit more yellow. But because this is a primarily yellow orange kind of piece, I wanted to go in with something that will really make it pop. So I went in with this teal color, and I did like a rim light kind of effect, and I thought that that was really nice. I don't do this often enough. Sometimes I will do like a fairly generic, I'll put like a yellowish color on one side like the sun, and a bluish color on the other side like shadows or whatever, but I don't often go in with just really fun punchy colors that are just there because they're the opposite of the color that I'm working with. I don't often just choose complementary colors and slap them on like rim lighting. But I did that here, and I think it turned out nice. It really makes it, yeah, it really makes it pop. And this teal kind of color isn't even the only one that I go in with. I add little bits of it here and there, and that's like another tip. You can always add little bits of rim light color if it makes sense in your piece. If you're doing a full illustration, obviously you just want to look at what colors are in your illustration, where the light source is, etc. But this isn't that type of art, and so I wasn't too worried about it. And here I go in with the blue, that's the other color, and the final touch. And I love the blue and the teal on this dragon. I think it makes the amber really, really shine. That being said, I feel like I have rambled a lot and ran out of things to talk about. I hope you enjoyed me just rambling about the process anyways. Hopefully you had some art you were doing, or something you were working on, or maybe just relaxing. And that is a wrap for this painting. Thank you so much for hanging out and for watching my videos and liking them and, you know, all that stuff. I'm actually really proud of myself for posting, what is this, the third week in a row? It hasn't been as hard as I thought it would be because I've been doing a lot of sketches at work. So that's a thing. Yay, more paintings for you guys. Well, that's about it, and thanks so much for stopping by.